Hello, welcome to another episode of Meet the Experts. Today's going to be a really cool episode. I've got a friend, client, like buddy of mine now for over a year, about a year anyway, coming on. But what is Meet the Experts? What are you doing here? Meet the Experts is a video platform where we interview business owners, entrepreneurs, thought leaders, C-level executives, anybody who has a product or service to talk about that's out there in the marketplace. And maybe video content isn't the easiest thing in the world to create. So instead of this being a podcast where I care about how many downloads I get, it's just the opposite. We call it the anti-podcast, actually. Just a real easy way for me to interview someone and then give them that video, and it costs the business owner nothing, right? So if you're looking for more video content, we say that if you edit these videos, you can create up to a year's worth of video content in just a 25-minute interview. For nothing, it's worth it. Well, now if you cut them up, you probably have extra charges. But anyway, if you would like to be a guest on Meet the Experts in the future, you have to stick around to the end of the episode, which is going to be easy to do because my guest today is like we communicate really well together. I think it's going to be really fun, and I'll tell you how. All right. So Meet the Experts is also powered by Journey Builder. This is our all-in-one marketing software solution with a customer management system built right in. So things like booking calendars, emails, text messaging, phone call tracking, IVR for phone, anything you want, and all your customer management and keeping track and making more sales, making more leads, making more money. Journey Builder is for you. All right. Now that that's out of the way, let's talk about today's guest, Karl Schnitzer. He's a friend of mine. He is an authorized infinite banking practitioner. And you might be like, what the hell is an infinite banking practitioner? It's good. You stick around. You're going to learn all about it. He's with the Nelson Nash Institute and helps individuals create their own banking system through alternative life insurance strategies. I have read a book that he sent a while back, and I love the system. I can't wait for him to tell you more about that. And yeah, let's meet Karl. Let's get him on here. Karl, how are you, my friend?
Jay, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Good, buddy. I've been looking forward to this episode because I know you. Like some of the other guests I have, I'm like, I don't really know them. Like I've had a sound check with them.
Yeah.
I've had many conversations, and you and I are kind of kindred spirits. So
Yeah,
I've been looking forward to it.
That usually makes it more of a conversation than an interview.
Absolutely. Person. Right. Well, I'm glad you're able to do it today. Go ahead and let's just start it off. Before we get into like products and services, before we get too deep into the weeds, let's just a little bit more about you and kind of what you do.
Sure. So kind of quick high-level overview. My name's Karl Schnitzer. I'm in Philadelphia. I started on this entire journey to where I'm at now, actually in law enforcement. So I was a local cop here. Law enforcement kind of led me to real estate, where I became a realtor first. Being a realtor, I had a really good real estate business because I worked with mostly cops, and they trusted me since I was a cop. Realtor sales kind of led to real estate investing, where I was doing fix and flips. I bought a few rental properties, and that real estate investing is really what led me to the infinite banking stuff. That I became a client of my firm before I even worked with my firm. And I started firsthand using infinite banking, and all of its different strategies within that to acquire more rental properties used to make large purchases, which we can kind of get into more of that later. But essentially, that's what led me up to now.
I love it. And infinite banking, I would imagine that like at least 80%, probably more, of my audience and anybody that watches this video is going to be like, what in the world is infinite banking? So let's talk about that and the services that you provide, and really who do they help? Who does this help?
Sure. So infinite banking is not a common topic to a certain kind of population. And what I mean by that is when you start to look at the really, ultra high net worth individuals, the 50 million, 100 million, all those families and their family offices, they all use life insurance completely different than how the general public is sold life insurance. Most people think of life insurance, they just think of term, whole life, maybe some kind of universal product or something like that. as just being purely for death benefit. Life insurance has living benefits as well. These, ultra wealthy families, they utilize those living benefits. So, what we kind of do is take a lot of these strategies that they use and, bring them down to kind of the common person that, anybody can use these strategies. They're just not talked about as much in, the average sub $50 million family. So, we work with all families of all different levels. However, I have found that it is more common just in the discussion with higher net worth families. So it is less common, but still very useful, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So let me kind of dig a little deeper on that. So I'm sure anybody could try to use it, but I mean, if your household income is like $100,000, is that going to be a stretch versus somebody who's at like 500,000, or does it really not matter?
It's case by case. There's certain people I'll hop on consultations with, and I'll recommend, hey, I don't think this is a good fit for you right now. It's more so what your savings rate is compared to what your income. Somebody that's making 50,000, 100,000 a year, but saves 10% of their money consecutively, that could be a good place for them to position that savings rate inside of an insurance policy as opposed to other types of accounts. It's just, we found that obviously the more money you have, the higher savings rate you can have. Not everybody's the same. A lot of people make a lot of money and they're still broke, but it's
Right.
There's no minimum threshold. It can be useful for anybody. It's more so how much money you're saving already. We're just going to position that. You're not doing anything different. You're still, making money, saving money. We're just going to position that savings inside of a different account that offers, more flexibility and all different kinds of strategies within that.
Okay. All right. Very cool. And I've got a scrolling ticker at the bottom here. If this is fascinating to you and you're like, wow, like I'd like to make more income from my savings, and you want to create kind of your own banking system, you can contact Karl at endlesslegacysolutions.com. And the email is also Karl at endlesslegacysolutions, right? So, but you can learn more at the website. So, you've been doing this for a little while now, and I know we talked a little bit before this, and you're going to be winning an award soon, and hopefully even a better one in a couple of years. You don't get to that level, like you don't get to award-winning levels if you're not doing something great or delivering the goods, right? Like if you're just doing awful service for everybody, like you can't stay in business. Obviously, it's a very you can't give names, you can't give actual like people testimonials, but has there been like a win that you got for somebody or a testimonial that you got from somebody that kind of keeps you going every day?
Yeah, there's a lot. I guess I'm kind of my own win in of itself, whereas I've actually done the strategy myself before I was even, consulting and teaching the strategy. So, I bought several properties. I flipped homes through my insurance policies. Most people don't even know you can borrow money from your life insurance. So I've used those funds to flip houses. I've had a lot of clients. We work a lot with real estate investors and business owners. So a lot will take loans from their insurance policy to grow the business or buy, more assets. So we have people buying storage units, storage facilities, people buying, multifamily, fix and flip houses, single family rentals. I had a client recently that was kind of a cool, they took a policy loan for a startup, and they started a microgreen greenhouse basically, and they're selling microgreens, and that was started with the funding of a loan from their life insurance. So that's a kind of cool one. They're close to me, so I was kind of a part in helping that, just helping them strategize it and get the funding for the startup. So that's a cool one. It's all kinds of stuff though, even just big purchases people make. If they're going out to spend whatever the number is, 30,000 on a car, we can position that to where, if you spend 30,000 in cash, that's $30,000 less you have working for you, growing compound interest for the rest of your life. And when you really start legacy planning, multiple generations. So rather than spending 30 in cash and rather than borrowing 30 from a bank, we would position it where that 30 can go into an insurance policy. It will grow and compound, until the day that you die. And you can borrow the money back out to go make a purchase without losing the opportunity cost of that money. So it's not even just creating more income as it is structuring the efficiency of making large purchases. So all kinds of, I have a client right now buying an RV. So that's going to create all kinds of family memories that, he's borrowing the money from his insurance policy.
So if he took like $100,000 out to buy an RV, and he borrows it, like he's taking it from his life insurance policy, is the money that's building interest still as if the 100,000 were there, or is now it's gaining interest on 100,000 less?
No, it's still there. So when you're putting money in through premium dollars into this insurance policy, a portion of that premium is going to a cash value account. Cash value grows uninterrupted compound interest with a guarantee, so it can never suffer a loss. Once you accumulate the funds for the example, $100,000, you can borrow money as a right in your contract from the insurance carrier. So there is a lot of misconception kind of in this infinite banking world where people say you're borrowing from yourself. That's not technically correct because you're borrowing money from the insurance carrier, not from yourself. Your funds are being put up as collateral, but that allows your money to continuously grow even when you have it liquid to go make a purchase. And when that purchase is an asset versus a liability, you're growing money inside the insurance policy, and then you're borrowing money to go buy an asset that's hopefully producing more money. So you're really getting the same dollars to work in two different places at once.
Oh, that's very cool. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't ever understood that, and that's really, really wild.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. All right. So now, what are the things it took to kind of, we call this earned it, learned it, improved your authority? Like, you could go back as far as you want with your educational background, but like to get to this point where you're in this infinite banking system, right? What the heck did that take to learn that? And were there certifications or titles or accreditations that come with that? Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. So it all started with books, just books and kind of self-education, learning all different types of things that kind of introduced me to the infinite banking world. I was actually introduced to by a podcast, but that just kind of sparked a lot of different thoughts. As for, the education I have, I have firsthand experience, like I said, using my own policies once I kind of learned it. Once you get into actually, selling life insurance and then doing the infinite banking coaching. So there's a couple different things, we have like courses that our agents go through, but there's also an institute called the Nelson Nash Institute, based in Alabama. And I've been through that, it's essentially a further education, institute for life insurance agents. Once you go through the state curriculum of getting your life insurance license, then you can apply to the Nelson Nash Institute, which is all of the education on how to design the insurance policy for infinite banking use. It is not a cookie cutter, design by any means. There's a lot of, technical design that goes into it because, again, one thing I didn't mention is the money, if it's designed correctly, grows tax-free. So it's kind of like a tax-free bucket in an overall wealth strategy. But it has to be designed correctly. So going through the Nelson Nash Institute, you learn how to design the policies and then the kind of coaching and consulting that goes along with it. And one thing you and I have talked about before is, we don't just sell a policy and then say you're on your own. We have an ongoing relationship with all of our clients that obviously they're using their policies. So it's not just like a, meet once a year, send them a Christmas card, like a normal insurance agent. We meet monthly, if not quarterly, with all of our clients and run all different kinds of strategies and scenarios of large purchases or assets that they're buying, or when they have children and they need policies on their children. There's an entire, legacy plan that would take, its own interview to do, but there's a lot that goes into it. So books, mentorship, masterminds. I mean, I have my own coaches and consultants in that field. And then I've been through the Nelson Nash Institute, which is actually a lot. I just learned this too, that the agents accredited with the Nelson Nash Institute is less than 1% nationwide of all life insurance agents. So real kind of niche education with that I've been through.
That's awesome. And you don't have to be rich. These are the tools that the rich use, but you don't have to be rich. And then you can start building that legacy, that value for generations to come. I think
Absolutely.
That's wild, man.
It
All
is.
right, cool. Yeah. Got a couple more for you. I'm gonna change gears a little bit. you can answer this from a professional standpoint, like where you're at now, or you could just talk about it a little bit personally. And I kind of know, I think I know kind of where you're going to go with this. But if I just say, hey, Karl, right now, tell us something you're truly thankful for. How do you answer that?
I would say, I mean, the biggest thing, and I think you and I have talked before, I'm a Christian. I'm very strong in my faith. So, the biggest thing that I'm thankful for is having the Lord on my side with everything. I've grown very strong in my faith in probably the last 4, maybe 5 years. I grew up Catholic my whole life, but I guess it wasn't until I was really 25 or 26 until I really kind of grew my faith. So I'm definitely thankful for the Lord and just the family that I surround myself with, and the people that I have that are under the same mindset.
I love it. I love it. I got the chills when you were saying it, and I think it's important. I too always say with him all things are possible,
Absolutely.
and there's a lot of power that comes from that. So good.
I've
good
found
answer.
in the last probably 12 months, that I don't know, it's weird. I mean, people say it and I've heard in the past, but I truly have some kind of divine intervention, I guess you could call it, where I truly feel doing what I do is my God-given purpose. This is what God wants me here doing.
I love it. No, I can tell. I can tell from knowing you that there's no doubt about it that you truly have like a passion for this, and that you feel like it is your purpose. And I also believe that you're great at what you do. And while I haven't gotten into the infinite banking system myself personally, it's been on my radar since the day we met, because I'm like, well, if there's anybody that's going to help me through it, like Karl's my dude. That's like, it's kind of the way I look at it. So, man, this has been great. This has been fun. This has been easy. I hope you agree. But now I'm going to ask you the biggie, and this is how we're going to cap it off. Within every business, and I'm sure, because I could probably ask you a million questions myself about all the different things that are involved. And I know that you would probably just say, well, let's just set up an hour or two and talk about your situation, right? So I get that. But when you're meeting with potential clients, prospects, I'm sure you're getting kind of the same 2 or 3 questions over and over again. And you can answer more than one here if you want. You could say, well, these are the 2 biggest, or you could just say, this is the question I get from everyone when we're getting started. I'm going to give you a chance to just tell me what the question is, and then go ahead and answer it on video so that it can live forever wherever you put it.
Sure. Yeah, I'll kind of go with the 2. So one of the big questions we always get is, what's the rate of return? And the policies will grow usually around 4 or 5%, which, that's not, a great investment. And that's where there's a huge misconception where your infinite banking policy is not an investment. An investment is there to produce, more cash. And we kind of separate savings from investing. Your infinite banking policies are your savings that then fund other investments. So the 4 to 5%, people say, oh, I can get more in the market, which is debatable anyway, but from tax-free and depending on a lot of different things. But what I always get is people think they can get a higher rate of return elsewhere. And, up until this year, savings accounts were less than 1%. So This is a savings alternative that will fund your investments. This is not the end all be all, investment. This is your, only kind of, retirement plan account. It's not. This is your savings account that will fund other investments. The other common question that I get is kind of like, why life insurance? It's not common. It's not what professionals and advisors recommend. And what I would say to that, and I have it on the homepage of our website, of why life insurance. Life insurance is so misunderstood, and there's a lot of bad characters in the business that probably sell the wrong thing, so it gets a bad stigma and a bad rap. And what I always say is, kind of just look at the person that is creating the stigma or the negative outlook. Sometimes they have an ulterior motive. Yeah, I can't think right now. And they want your money too for assets under management. So there's always that other motive, and there's a lot of misconception around it by people that were sold the wrong thing. I mean, there's agents all over the place selling, life insurance or selling infinite banking designed life insurance policies that, I can tell you as a Nelson Nash Institute practitioner, that is not by any means an infinite banking design, but it's sold that way, and then they may have a sour taste towards it. So then they create that negative stigma. But I'd say just analyze everything. When it comes to any kind of misconception on life insurance.
Awesome. Man, so much to think about. Really good education in a short period of time. Listen, if you're watching this right now and you're thinking, I got to learn more. Well, it's been at the bottom of the screen the whole time. Just contact Karl. He'll talk to you, text you. You're not calling a 1-800 number and getting some stranger. Like, you can get in touch with Karl directly. He will help you. He will answer all your questions, and I'm sure he'll set up a time to answer all of them for you. So bring them to him, like bombard him with questions.
Yeah, I love it. This is my purpose here. So, even if the conversation, it's not a good fit at this time, if I can teach somebody, an alternative method to something, or just, in the future, it does work out, I'm always open for a consultation.
Fantastic. Karl, you've been a great guest. I look forward to our growing friendship to continue, and I'll talk to you soon, man. Thanks for coming on today.
Thanks, Jay.
You got it. All right. Awesome. That's another episode. We're getting close to number 100. Man, infinite banking system. Like, that is cool. You ever wonder why the bankers have all the money? And then you think, like, how do I be my own bank, right? And now you're not really being your own bank with this system. I don't want to say that, but it's a system. It's a banking type system for you. So I don't want to get Karl in trouble, because I think he would probably be like, don't say that, but that's okay. Anyway, yeah. Next episode is coming up real soon. I did promise that if you would like to be a future guest on Meet the Experts, or a guest of Meet the Experts in the future, that I would tell you how once you stuck to the end of the episode, which I knew was going to be simple to do. And there it is. www.meettheexperts with an S, meettheexpertspodcast.com. www.meettheexpertspodcast.com. We will, you can go there, you can read, learn some more information about being a guest, what's included, what's not included. We do have an option where if you need some video production, post-production help after the episode, we can provide that for you for a very, very, very nominal small fee, and give you about 14 social media ready video clips from your episode, and optimized for the various networks as well. So whether you're doing reels and stories, or you're just doing posts on Instagram or Facebook, or whichever, or you're doing TikTok, you'll get some vertical ones for Instagram reels and TikTok. Anyway, we can do all of that as well, but go on there, sign up. The episode is free. The recording, do all of this episode, everything. Karl's going to get a video of our interview that we just did without a dime out of his pocket. We would love to do the same for you. So go to meettheexpertspodcast.com. Until our next episode, which we are recording this on Halloween. So you'll probably, if you're watching this, it's probably the 1st of November, first week of November. But I will say, belated happy Halloween. I hope it was great. I hope the rest of my day is fun trick-or-treating. And we're coming up on our 100th episode. So stick around for that. But until then, try to do something nice for somebody today or tomorrow, right? And just be good to one another.